What's up, Ravens fans? My name is Ryan, and welcome to the first live episode of the Flock Rundown. I've never went live in my life, but we're gonna do this every week after the post game and just go over the thoughts and recap the game. Ravens win 27-24. Let's go, man. Beat the Bengals. Crazy big division win. Shout out to, let me get this right, Dennis Hop SSR 7708. I already hit you up and replied to your comment, but he won the giveaway. The question was how many yards will Lamar Jackson have? And he guessed 235 yards and 2 touchdowns, which is a hell of a guess because Lamar had 237 and 2 touchdowns. So you're only 2 yards off. And we'll just jump into the stats while we're here, honestly. Lamar, just an incredible day. Early in the game, I was a little concerned with the ball security and yeah, what's up, Abdi? I was a little concerned with his ball security. I mean, dudes fumbled the ball. We got bailed out on a penalty. I'll get into the penalties here in a second because I thought the refs were just way too involved in this game and both sides of the ball, honestly. Like, we got bailed out from multiple bad calls on their side and vice versa. But anyway, let's go through these stats real quick. Lamar, 237 yards, 2 touchdowns, no turnovers, just an incredible day. The offensive line too, shout out to the offensive line. No sacks. That's that's unreal. We're missing Ronnie Stanley. You got Makari stepping in. We're missing Tyler Linderbaum. Sam Mustipher stepped in at center. And shout out to them. It was as if we had our normal starting offensive line there. I wasn't even worried. We didn't even notice the pressure. Lamar had time to make reads downfield and deliver the ball. So super impressed with the offensive line. Heisenberg fam, what up? Able to run the ball too. Lamar took over on the ground, man. 12 carries, 54 yards. Gus Edwards, 10 carries, 62 yards. Justice Hill, 11, 41. So we had 178 yards rushing. And I said in the pregame, I don't know if you watched the pregame episode, but I was saying that we should be able to control the game and time of possession by running the ball. And rarely can teams stop our rushing game, and that proved to be huge today. We killed in time of possession. The Bengals really weren't getting a lot of opportunities until later in the second half when they really started to move the ball and take advantage of our weak secondary. But yeah, that's huge, man, just to be able to run the ball on the ground. Abdi, thank God we pay Lamar Jackson. Yo, bro, you didn't want him to play though. So I don't even know if I want to hear that. You didn't want Lamar to play. I remember I could pull up the comment. You said we don't want Lamar to play behind this offensive line. And the offensive line just absolutely balled out, man. Couldn't say enough about it. Receiving game, we got Nelson Aguilar leading the way, 5 catches, 63 yards, and that touchdown. Lamar had that beautiful over-the-shoulder touchdown to Nelson Aguilar. And Aguilar and Duvernay were naturally more involved, as you guys probably know. OBJ didn't finish the game. He looked like he hurt that ankle pretty early in the game. I noticed it as soon as it happened. I was like, oh, he didn't come up on that right. Like, he kind of pulled up, like he hurt himself, but then he stayed out there. And then he had that one contested ball in the end zone where the corner kind of like ran over him. But you could tell that he just wasn't full speed. He wasn't able to cut. And so I guess when he went into halftime, Harbaugh was like, you guys are done. You're done. So I think it's precautionary, though, because Harbaugh, after the game, said that OBJ and Adafe Owe, who also left the game, and I'm not sure, I haven't been on Twitter as much, or X, but I'm not sure what happened to Owe. If you do know, let me know in the chat. But yeah, I'm not. Harbaugh said that they aren't like serious injuries, so obviously that's really positive news. But Odell had 3 catches, 29 yards. Bateman kind of involved again. He was more involved early in the first half. I didn't see a ton of Bateman in the second half. We were running a lot of Duvernay and Aguilar. And then Zay Flowers, I know he didn't score. They were trying to get him that touchdown. But, man, that one catch, that deep ball, this dude's a monster. This dude's a monster. We're so blessed to have Zay Flowers on this team, for him to have fallen in the draft. He already obviously has a rapport with Lamar, and he's just an absolute dog, seriously. Joystick Zay, yeah, I see it in the chat. Yeah. Likely not that involved again, but Mark Andrews made his return. Thank God, we needed Mark Andrews. Got that touchdown. Mark Andrews just safety net for Lamar. You know, Lamar plays so much better when Mark's out there. And this offense, especially in this game, we really noticed it. And they take it. They took a huge leap from last week against the Texans. But this offense has so many options, and it's like such a luxury compared to these last few seasons that we've been dealing with. We haven't been able to. It looks like it always felt like these last two seasons, like our offense was handicapped, you know. And now Lamar's just able to sling the ball all over the field, and it just feels like Lamar's about to play his best ball of his career. I thought Lamar basically had a flawless day. Besides early, he missed a couple deep throws. I think one was to Zay, one was to Aguilar in the end zone earlier in the game, and then that fumble obviously was terrible. I would say the only thing Lamar really could improve on, just a nitpick at anything, is ball protection with these fumbles, which I felt like as soon as he did fumble from then on, he really did protect the ball. And then just throwing it away, you know. He wasn't under a ton of pressure today. Last week against the Texans, he was under way more pressure, which is funny because we were all stressed out about the offensive line coming into this game. And then Lamar has like the cleanest pocket we've seen in a while. But like I said, shout out to the offensive line again. They may be, besides some of the defense, for how hurt we were, I would say the offensive line might be the stars of the game, and then Lamar Jackson, of course. But man, on the Bengals side of the ball, Joe Burrow really wasn't doing much until the end. Oh yeah, that interception to Geno Smith. Shout out to Geno Smith stepping in for Marcus Williams. Geno comes in and huge red zone. They were about to score, so getting that red zone interception just completely flipped the game. And if they didn't have that punt return, if the Bengals didn't have that punt return earlier, then this might have been a lot, or this might not have been as close as it even was. You know what I'm saying? So I think that punt return allowed this game to be a lot closer. And then our offense in the second half went 3 and out a couple times, and the Bengals were able to kind of tire our defense out and really get moving. So that I think that's, you know, a lot of the success that Joe Burrow experienced in the second half, when they were just going up tempo. Our defense was gassed. T. Higgins was eating. He had that couple mismatches against our Darius Washington in the end zone. I saw when they threw that ball, I was like, I know T. Higgins is coming down with that. We can't have this is the height difference. You know what I mean? You can't have that. Hold on, let me hit this chat a little bit. I'm behind here. What's up, guys? I appreciate you tuning in. Vero Jim, what's up? Pass rush is fine. Burrow was getting the ball out in less than 2.5 seconds. Yeah, for sure. And Joe Burrow always throws the ball really, really fast. I felt like every time we played the Bengals, a lot of their offense is quick throws. They throw it out in the flat. They were throwing it to Joe Mixon a ton in the flat. Jamar Chase screens. And then naturally T. Higgins started to open up in more of the middle of the field. But what's up, Jim? Couldn't agree more. Wins every time we get the ball, knowing we need to chew up clock. Absolutely. We were able, the time of possession was incredible, especially in the first half. Second half, we had a couple 3 and outs. I was getting a little worried because we were kind of letting them hang around and get back into the game. And like I said, tire this defense out, you know. But the first half, we were chewing the clock up, man. Chewing the clock up. And that's just a recipe to win a lot of games. If we did that in 2019 over and over again, we were just able to run the ball, have a dominant run game, and keep the ball away from the opponent. And especially when you're going against high-powered offense. I don't know if I'd say the Bengals are a high-powered offense at the moment, but we know their potential and what they can do, right? So I would say that the recipe for success is just this balance, you know, able to have these big plays in this pass game now, but also able to still run the ball just like we were and chew up and eat this clock and just keep this ball in our hands so the opponent almost feels the pressure to have to score every time they get the ball. It's crucial. What's up, guys? What's up, guys? Abdi, Lamar's 47 and 16. Yeah, dude, Lamar is unreal. Just got to keep this team healthy. I love Washington too, Sis. Washington plays like a dog. Shout out to the secondary in general. It is no easy task. I know they were starting to let some stuff up in the second half, but no easy task dealing with these receivers. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, even Tyler Boyd, and Joe Mixon. You can add into that receiving game, and I mean they're loaded on offense. And you got Ronald Darby and Rock Ya-Sin. Shout out to Rock Ya-Sin for that Jamar Chase breakup in the end zone. Saved a touchdown. That was a great ball, great catch by Jamar. Rock got his hand in there, knocked it out at the last second. That's huge. I'm glad to see Rock Ya-Sin playing a lot more too. You know, we signed him in the offseason to play a key role, and we've been so banged up in the secondary, but brighter days are ahead in the secondary. Marlon Humphrey should be back any week now. I don't know if it'll be next week, but I would imagine if it's not next week, it's the week after. And then this secondary should get a huge boost. Hopefully we get Marcus Williams back at some point. Let me catch up with this chat. JR, love from New Mexico. What's up, man? I appreciate you. What's up, Charles? Definitely room for improvement. I mean, there's always going to be room for improvement. I was saying in the pregame, I don't think that this offense, nor this team, nor any team in the entire NFL should be peaking at week 2, right? And especially when you don't play in the preseason and you haven't had these guys, saw a lot of these guys, Lamar and OBJ and Rashad, and a lot of these key weapons haven't been playing ball in like over a year. So this is the second week. It's unfortunate that OBJ suffered an ankle injury, but hoping he's all right. We are going to need him, and I liked how involved he was to start this game as well. But back to the point, I mean, we're just warming up. You know what I mean? This offense looks a lot better than it did last week, right? So I expect this just to continue. And most importantly, I thought Lamar was just making incredible decisions. You know, the plays he was making on the ground game when the Bengals would drop their safeties and just leave the middle of the field and Lamar's just able to just take advantage. I mean, good luck trying to stop everything. And that's what we've been saying all offseason. You just can't contain all of it. So I think that Lamar is the key and the weapon to a Super Bowl run here. Obviously, he needs to stay healthy. We haven't had him finish the last 2 seasons, but they've been fluke random injuries, you know, and ankle, bruised knee, just fluke injuries. I think that we're due for a healthy season here, man. At least I hope so. Next week, who are we home against? Why do I not know the schedule? That's on me. Let's look it up. Next week, we got the Colts. And then the Browns on the road. So, yeah, we got a home game against the Colts next week. Anthony Richardson suffered a concussion today and left the game. So, I'm not sure what his status will be for next week. But Colts next week at home. We should win that game. We should win that game. But just starting out 2-0, man, it feels so good. You know? It feels so good, especially against the Bengals. We need a little sweet revenge against this team. This team is got us twice at the end of the year. Their fans are talking a bunch of mess, man. Like, we don't even have Lamar, you know. Week 18, we didn't have Lamar. Wild card game, we didn't have Lamar, and the Bengals are over here barely beating us, especially in the playoff game. It just feels good. It feels really good to get a win against this division team. Just an absolute team effort. Defensively, let's see, why is it not scrolling? Let's get back to this. Defensively, let's go through the defensive stats. I haven't even touched on the defense yet. Man, Roquan did not have many tackles. Wow, that's surprising. He goes from, 16, 17 tackles last week to 3. Geno Smith, hell of a game. That pick in the red zone like we talked about earlier. 7 total tackles, leads the team. Jadeveon Clowney with the sack. He was getting a lot of pressure, and he started playing a lot more when Owe went down, too. So, Jadeveon Clowney's going to be a huge signing for this team. I mean, especially if Owe has to miss any time. I'm hoping that's not the case. I don't even know what's going on. I'm sure we'll get an update soon. I mean, I'm just going to take Harbaugh's word that none of this is none of this is serious. Yeah, Roquan with 3 tackles is probably the surprise of the game. But I just thought everyone held up so well. Stevens was getting beat a little bit, but I mean, this is to be expected. We're going against a star-studded, really talented receiver group, and we got Brandon Stevens, Ronald Darby, Rocky Ya-Sin. I think Jalen Armour Davis was active for this game, but I don't remember seeing much of him. We'll have to check the snap count. If you guys saw Jalen Armour Davis, let me know. I don't remember seeing him at least not make an impact. I got to go back and look at the film. Me hopping on live right away after the game leaves me a lot less educated. I'm a lot less prepared than going like a few hours later and making the normal content video. But I definitely want to hop in here and chop it up with you guys. Yeah, just a great win, man. I'm hype. I am hype. What did I not touch on? Offensive line, Mark Andrews, the punt return, that sucked. And then I thought we were getting away with it again. So we got away with that fumble. Remember Lamar fumbled, and then they got it on like the 10-yard line, but then they called, I think it was Reader, hands to the face. Somebody had hands to the face on our offensive line, and we kind of got bailed out there. And then they returned that punt for a touchdown. And I thought we were getting bailed out again with a block in the back, but obviously they didn't. So that kept the game a lot closer than it should have been. Ton of the refs were too involved in this game. Ton of holding calls and a lot of calls period on both sides. Like I said, I don't think it was a I don't think it was. I mean, they're fair calls if you want to call them. I guess it was, it was consistent on both sides, but I don't like to see the refs that involved in the game. I mean, that one drive I can remember, I think it was the second half that we had where we got back-to-back holding calls and it was like 3rd and 30. I mean, at that point, the drive's over. You're screwed. You know what I mean? Like, you can't have back-to-back holding calls and you got to have 30 yards to get a first down. We had it again on another drive where it was like 2nd and 20, but Lamar threw an absolute laser to Mark Andrews just to get like 3rd and short. And just plays like that, and especially just having Mark Andrews back. Like I said, he's such a safety blanket. Such a safety blanket. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else I even have to talk about. I'll do another video tomorrow as well. Abdi, is Humphrey coming back this week? I don't know. I hope so. We'll see if he starts practicing. I would say if he's not practicing again at all in any capacity, then no. I mean, he hasn't practiced at all in over a month now. You're going to have to see at least a couple limited sessions. And once I think he starts coming back to practice, it's pretty safe to assume that that's probably the week he's going to come back, especially if he comes back on a Wednesday. If he's limited on Wednesday, limited on Thursday, or gets a full on Friday, something like that, like Mark Andrews had this week, that's usually a recipe that he's gearing up to play. But if Marlon Humphrey's not practicing for Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, he's not coming back this week. But I hope so, man. We need Marlon Humphrey out there. I mean, I think we can beat the Colts regardless. My confidence is growing in this secondary as it stands. I mean, we're so beat up there, and all these guys are filling in effortlessly, really. I mean, shout out to Mike McDonald for calling a really good game too. I can't wait to dive into the film and get into the specifics of it, but this secondary is impressing me for what's out there on paper. When we look at the roster on paper, there's not a lot of reason to be confident, but I mean, Brandon Stevens, Ronald Darby, Rocky Ya-Sin, they're holding their own, and I'm impressed. But yeah, I would love Marlon to come back. Obviously, that's a huge huge play. Sizzle said, they say you're only a Raven after you beat the Steelers, but Rock became a Raven with that Chase pass breakup. Couldn't agree more, man. That was such a huge play. You could just see it in his face too. Like, he was so hype after that. And he saved a touchdown, you know what I mean? I mean, that was definitely a touchdown. Chase had that ball in his hands. He was even coming down with it, but Rock was able to keep the hand in there, swipe it out, and knock that out for a pass breakup. I couldn't agree more. I think we see more and more Rock Ya-Sin, and he's, like we always thought throughout the offseason and when we first signed him, he's going to be the starting outside corner opposite of Marlon Humphrey. And I think our Darius Washington can stay in the slot. I love what I see from him. They're bringing him on blitz, He's rushing the quarterback well. He hit Burrow pretty good on one of those plays, and I I I think our Darius Washington's a dog. I think the secondary can be fine. I would love for Marcus Williams to come back at some point, like mid-season or even just at all. As long as it's not season-ending, I think that provides a huge boost. But I mean, we were talking about how we lost some playmaking ability with Marcus, and then look who steps in, man. Geno Stone with the red zone interception, huge, huge. I'm gaining confidence in the secondary. Inside the squared circle with King Judah. What's up, man? Love the play action from Monken. Anthony Richardson left the game with a concussion. Yeah. We just touched on Richardson. I'm not sure. Sometimes, yeah, I mean, I saw the play. He slammed his head after he scored that rushing touchdown. Sometimes those concussion symptoms linger, and he'd be out against the Ravens this week. But I'll be honest, regardless whether it's Gardner Minshew or Anthony Richardson, I think we stand a great chance. It's in Baltimore. I love the way our defense is playing. I love the way our offense is even playing even more. I think we have so much potential with this offense, and I think we can win regardless of who's playing quarterback for the Colts. But Richardson does pose more of a threat on the ground, 100%. And love the play action for Monken. I thought Monken called a great game. So balanced, eating up the clock in the first half. I mean, that's just crucial. Like, you got to be able to chew the clock like we talked about earlier. Time of possession is such a key to win games, especially when you can get a one-possession, two-possession lead, and then you're just able to run. We had 178 yards rushing on the ground. Kenny Chop, what's up? Geno looked like he could score. I know, I was saying the same thing. He ran out of bounds. It looked like he only had Joe Burrow to beat. I want to see like a sky view of it, though, because maybe like Chase or somebody was faster down the field and he realized if he would have cut back, he just got hit anyway. But I agree. I thought Geno Smith could have took that to the house. I was like, you got two blockers in front of you. You just ran 40 yards. It looked like Joe Burrow was the only one who had an angle. And, I mean, if you can't cut in on Joe Burrow, like, I don't know. I felt like he could have kept going as well, but maybe he saw something we didn't. Regardless, just hell of a pick, man. That was such a big play. Such a big play. But yeah, you guys got anything else? I might hop off here. I don't know what else to talk about. Just an incredible win. 2-0 to start the season. Man, I'm high on this team. I said it before. I think I predicted 28-24. It's close. But yeah, I'm just excited, man. I'm happy to be on this ride with this team. Happy to be on this journey with you guys. I'm going to go live after every game. This will be my post-game videos, at least like an initial post-game video, you know what I mean? It's fun to hop in here and talk about the game with you guys. And then I'll do a more detailed breakdown after I watch some film and can get a better idea of what certain things happen. When you jump, like I said, when you jump on right after the game, you don't always know like the ins and outs, It's probably how like a coach feels when all the reporters are like asking about certain plays and whatnot, and they're just like, I don't know, I'll let you know tomorrow after I like watch the film, but he seemed like he played well. But yeah, I mean, standouts from this game, just to recap: Lamar Jackson, Zay Flowers, Mark Andrews, the offensive line, Geno Stone, Jadeveon Clowney, Rock Ya-Sin. Just an impressive win. And now we got a 2-game lead over the Bengals. They're 0-2, and we own the tiebreaker right now. I know we play again, but the beautiful thing about that, and after all these stretch of division games in these first 5 weeks, is that all of our division games after these first 5 weeks are in Baltimore. So the next time we play the Bengals, I think it's a Thursday night game in Baltimore. So we got the Browns in 2 weeks for week 4. Then we have the Steelers week 5, and they're all on the road, which knocks out in the first 5 weeks every road division game. And then everything from then on, like I said, it's in Baltimore. And that's such a luxury to have, man. That's a beautiful position for us to be hitting our stride as a team, and hopefully, already having a nice lead in the division, and then everybody's got to come to the bank. Yeah, I like it. I like this start. This is a huge win. This was the game that I was most concerned about in these first 5 weeks. You know, we got the Colts this week at home, and now Anthony Richardson might not even play. And I just don't think that their offense is super talented. Their roster as a whole is not super talented. But we'll dive in. We'll dive into the Colts preview later this week in another episode. But I like our chances at home against the Colts. Next week against the Browns won't be easy. Their defensive line is tough. You know, just in pass rush speaking. I mean, Myles Garrett is just an animal, and then they got the ex-Ravens, Darius Smith. So I think that's a little bit of a tougher game than the Colts. But, I mean, we looked incredible today. Hell of a win, guys. Hell of a win. But, yeah, that's going to do it for the post-game video. I appreciate you guys coming through. We'll just go live every week. It was a good time. And I'll probably have an episode out tomorrow as well, diving in a little bit more detail, a couple different things. But I appreciate you guys tuning in to the first live episode. Oh, shout out to Talia. That's my girlfriend for the $5 super chat. Let's go Ravens. What a win. Keep doing what you're doing. I appreciate you. I love you. Thank you for the tip. But yeah, guys, I appreciate you coming through to the first live episode. Got my feet wet. I've never went live in my life, in at least online. So nice to dip the toes in the water, and we'll get better. I'll make it more interactive, and I'll get more proficient with it. There's a lot of stuff using my camera and OBS and streaming and different screens, and there's a lot of stuff to work through. But I think it was smooth. It was cool. But I appreciate you guys coming through. Have a beautiful rest of your day. I'll talk to you guys next time.